Why does life feel constantly pressurized? Why does it always feel like you should be doing something, even when there is nothing urgent that actually needs to be done? Why does time always feel like it is running out, like you always have less of it than you need? The usual explanations that people give are like mindset, poor time management, bad discipline. But these explanations never really satisfied me because the feeling is widespread across people. It is too consistent. It does not feel psychological, it feels structural. And I kept thinking about it, and somehow, intuitively, I started connecting it to the idea of surplus. Now, surplus is really an intriguing concept because this entire modern world, the world in which we live in, this entire world only became possible after surplus emerged during the agricultural revolution. And almost everybody agrees with that. But I'm not really trying to explain surplus here. What I'm trying to explore is something slightly different. What kind of structural changes did surplus bring to how we experience time? Before agriculture, survival was a daily thing. People had to hunt or gather food every single day just to stay alive. Life could not really pause. If effort stopped, survival was immediately at risk. Then agriculture slowly changed this. Surplus started to emerge, and that changed how we experience time, but in a very unequal way. Because with the emergence of surplus, two different ways of living under it appeared. Some people still had to work daily in the fields to produce enough food to survive, but others now lived off that surplus. Their work was not daily food production, their work was to manage the surplus. And because surplus was already under their control, their survival was already secured. This created two very different experiences of time for both groups. For daily workers, survival was tied to daily effort, so time never felt safe to them. They were always acting on urgency, always feeling the pressure of time. But for controllers of surplus, survival was separated from daily effort, so time felt completely different to them. It felt safe, it felt open. They did not feel the constant urgency. They could afford to wait, afford to say no, reject bad deals, and wait for the right time. So, the core insight here is simple. Whenever your survival is tied to daily effort, time does not feel safe. And whenever your survival is separated from daily effort, time feels completely different. Now, let's shift our focus to the present time. And interestingly, our relationship with time hasn't really changed. But survival form has changed. Today's survival is not food. Today's survival is continuous income. Because income is what keeps a roof overhead, covers rent and bills, supports a family, it pays for internet. And as you remember, in ancient societies, when food stopped, risk appeared quickly. Similarly, today, if income stops, risk appears quickly. You may no longer be able to pay for your healthcare or for your child education. So, if you want to survive in the modern world, you need to have a continuous flow of income. And surplus in the modern world has also changed, or I should say, it has evolved. It is no longer stored food, it is something more abstract. Things like owning assets, owning stocks, owning property. In a way, what we call wealth today is modern surplus. And our relationship with time still follows the same structure. For people who don't have access to surplus, time doesn't feel safe to them. They cannot afford to wait, cannot afford to say no to bad deals. Their decisions are shaped by constant urgency. Their minds are continuously occupied by thoughts like this bill, this deadline. So they are used to think short term. But for people who do have access to surplus, time feels completely different to them. It feels safe, it feels open. They can afford to wait, afford to think long term. Their choices are guided by what they want to build in the long run, not by immediate pressure. So maybe surplus is the real key, because surplus separates survival from daily effort, and that separation changes how we experience time. This idea has changed how I think about time, and I'm still exploring it, still stress testing it across different systems and actors. And it is producing some really interesting insights. So, hopefully, I will be able to share a more developed version of this idea in the future.